Studies show that if you have between 104 degree or 108 degree nasal tip rotation, those are the ones that are considered the most beautiful, and hers is 106.
Get somebody in here to measure our nasal tip rotation, please?
And then we know if we have the most beautiful noses.
But symmetry is what they say is a lot in the eye of beauty, right?
Okay.
Hello and welcome to another day in paradise, and welcome to another edition of the Unapologetic Negropian. In today's video, Meghan and Harry. We're going to talk a little bit about this interview because it's important that you hear the perspective from the black British public, namely yours truly. I'm going to tell you why ignorance does not pay off for Meghan during this interview. Meghan should have done her homework. She didn't, and she got burnt. Is she all to blame? Perhaps. We're going to get into this now, but first I'm going to ask you to please like, subscribe, share, click the bell notification, and please consider supporting us on Patreon, link in the description. So as most of you probably already know, Meghan and Harry had an interview with Oprah Winfrey. They discussed multiple topics about Meghan's life during her short tenure doing royal duties at the House of Windsor in the United Kingdom. One of the first things which stunned me was that she didn't do any research. Not on Harry himself, but just on the royal family. When she said this, I had to question whether she was telling the truth. Because a quick Google search on your smartphone, even if it's 5 years ago when they met, most people would have done the same thing. I don't think she was telling the truth when she said she didn't know what she was getting herself into. I think she had some idea. Even if she's born and raised in California, for heaven's sakes, we've got the World Wide Web. Makes no difference. She should have known better. She didn't realize what she was getting herself into. I mean, she was going to get married into an institution which is vehemently racist. We as black British people know this. It is steeped in white supremacy. It always has been, it always will be. The British royal family are responsible for some of the worst atrocities ever done by humans to other humans. Some of the worst things imaginable were done in the name of this old lady. So with Meghan swanning into this family believing that things had totally changed was the biggest mistake she could have ever have made. It actually made me question her intelligence. If you are getting married to anyone, wouldn't you research the family? Would you not research that family before you got involved with them at a serious level? We probably wouldn't because we're not marrying into institutions, but she was. There was a massive difference between what she did and between what we do. Even if you get married into money, it doesn't compare to getting married into a royal family. Millions of lives of people like me and you have been lost because of this family. Whole ethnicities, whole races, sub-races have been wiped off the face of this earth in this woman's name. And what, you just think you're going to be able to just, well, yeah, get married. She's a sweet old lady. She lent me her blanket. Oh, she's nice. No, it doesn't work that way. But part of me says that this is too clear cut. This is just too easy for the royal family. We knew, and we saw this coming as black British people. We could see that, hey, wait a minute, it's too easy. They're gonna chew her up and spit her out. There is something sinister about this family. Now, I'm not gonna start talking about adrenochrome and organ harvesting, but these people who live in the upper echelons of society work in a different way. They think in a different way. They don't look at us like we're human. They are a different breed. This is why a lot of people were saying that they are like lizard people. I don't think they literally mean lizard people. I think they mean that they think and act in a sort of a way which is clinical, where they have absolutely no feelings towards people like me and you. Now, they obviously felt the same way about Meghan Markle. She's innocent. She's beautiful. She's everything that they needed in their bloodline. I just can't understand that she wasn't pre-warned about all this happening. This was not an accident. This was created. This was by design. This is something that they've all gone through. Princess Diana, Prince Harry's mother, probably went through it the worst and ultimately paid for it with her life. So why wouldn't Harry have spoken to his wife about this? Perhaps because he's naive himself. Perhaps because he believes that his dear old grandmother wouldn't do those sorts of things, wouldn't act in that sort of a callous manner. She's a queen of an empire. Throughout the ages, you know the way these types of people act. They don't care about people like you and me, especially people that look like me. So everything you see there, when you see Merkel with the Queen, it's an act. It's an act which has been played out for many, many decades by the Queen. She's really good at it. She has perfected her ability to act in a certain way around people for the last half a century. So she knows exactly what she is doing. It was always the plan of this regime to drive Meghan Markle to suicide. And they almost achieved it. Harry is also the hero because the reality is he stuck by her. No matter what, he said, I want this woman. He loves her. He loves every bit of her and he will never leave her. It's about what she represents to Harry. She represents true freedom. She represents everything that his mother, Lady Diana, wanted. Happiness. He wanted happiness and he knew he couldn't have that happiness inside the royal family. Meghan Markle was a get out card. Harry knew what was coming. Harry knew it. In a way, he used Meghan Markle. He used her to get out. Harry has been watched over pretty much all of his life. Harry loves black women. Meghan Markle isn't the first. Don't fool yourself, okay? He has tasted the exotic fruit. Let's just call it the way they would call it, their establishment. He's tasted the exotic fruit of the black woman. As soon as he took one taste of a black woman, like, that's it, I'm sold. That's it, I'm having one of those. And the establishment knew this, and there was no way he was going to change his mind. They knew at some point all this was going to happen. Clearly they knew which direction he was going in and they had planned for this day. And so they knew exactly when to execute. But Harry is not completely ignorant of what is going on. He knew that the firm was going to try to destroy Meghan Markle. Ignorance is a choice in today's world, in today's modern world. And he could have done better with warning her. I think they are both very brave for continuing to fight against this, but Harry should have known better. Harry should have done better to warn her about this tidal wave because we all saw it coming. Every black person in the UK knew it was coming. Merkel didn't see it coming. I think Harry just believed that his grandmother wasn't like this still. He's still under the impression that his grandmother is a sweet old lady. And I wish that Diana was around now because this would have never have happened if his mother was around. This would have never have happened. We all know that this family took his mother out. We know this as black people. Another thing I want to speak about is this.
We have in tandem the conversation of he won't be given security, he's not going to be given a title. And also concerns and conversations about how dark his skin might be when he's born.
There's a conversation with you?
With Harry.
About how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
The color of the baby's skin. You know, as ridiculous as this sounds, This is definitely the truth. She's not lying about this. Got to look at the types of people who we're discussing here. You have some of the most racist people on this planet. The whole of this juggernaut of a family was built on white supremacy. But there is one person whose perspective, who I think Meghan Markle was probably talking about, because she said that these messages were being relayed through Harry and it came from another family member, and she didn't want to mention that family member because it could be damaging. So we need to look at the types of people that would have said something like this inside the family. If you are from outside the UK, you may not know who may be responsible for saying these types of things, but if you're black and British, you would have known straight away who it was. No, not him, not her either. Yeah, that's who we're talking about. The Duke of Edinburgh, of course, the Queen's husband. And this man is openly racist. He's not just openly racist, but he's casually racist. He will say whatever he wants to say.
This is how casually racist the Duke of Edinburgh can be. Just listen to what he had to say to this Filipino nurse.
Wyatt and our staff nurse Roxanne. Nurses.
Where do you come from? Philippines. Philippines, I say half empty. They're all here.
What a prick.
So I would put my house on it that he is the person who made these comments, and he probably made multiple comments about it as well, which I think is understandable. We sometimes hold those same reservations even in our families, especially in families like mine where we have mixed race children. We would prefer the children to come out and look more like us than like them. And it's not being racist, it's just we know who we are as people, right? We know who we are as people, and we would have that preference for that child to be darker skinned. Well, at least I do anyway. And I'm kind of lucky in that kind of a way, because all my children have the phenotype of a black person. They don't look white, they don't have pale skin, they all have relatively dark skin. Meghan Markle's child looks white. That's because that child has more white DNA inside of him than, I think the child's name is Archie. Yeah, so I think this child, Archibald, has more white DNA inside him than he does black DNA. So of course he's going to come out and have more of a white phenotype. But there is always the chance that that child could come out and look like me, and they were scared of that. That frightened them. So this wasn't surprising to most black people in the UK. Most black British people would have known straight away that this kind of thing was bound to happen because of the types of people that were in the establishment. We might have been thrown off because of the fact that he married her. They allowed Harry to marry this woman. But Harry is not first in line for the throne. If Harry's brother would have dated a mixed race woman, they would have killed her. They would have killed her. They would have gotten rid of her, one way or another. That's the way they act. It's just the way they are. I'm just a little disappointed in the way a lot of black American women acted after Meghan came out and told everybody that she was going to get married to this British prince. Yeah, you go get yours, girl, and all this. I'm like, what? Come on, really? You didn't see that this was going to happen? Clearly not. And that's understandable, you know. You may not know the British aristocracy like the black British do. So it's understandable that you didn't know that this kind of thing would have been possible to happen. I mean, look at Harry's mother. Harry's mother was dating an Arab at the time that she died in the accident. So you need to know that race would have played a factor in that accident too. It's a shame that they took away this child's credentials as a prince. That would have been nice. Would have been like Bridgerton or something, right? That would have been cool. But no. I mean, we know what the British public are like. Half the British public don't even like white people from outside the United Kingdom. That's just the way they are. So yes, the British establishment are horrible. The British press, which is owned by the British establishment, are also horrible. And they were always going to get on her neck. They knew that she was a prime target because they knew that the Queen was never going to protect Meghan Markle. So she was great for business for them. The Queen was simply using the media to ultimately do the dirty work for her. In conclusion, I believe that Meghan Markle is extremely brave. I don't think it's just ignorance, okay? I think she was extremely brave to go through and marry this guy anyway, because the reality is that there is a lot more into marrying a royal and being part of the royal family. It's a sacrifice that you have to make. You are marrying into a family which has blood on its hands. Look at the Tasmanians. Take a look at what a Tasmanian looks like right now. Google it, okay? They're supposed to look like us, but no. The Tasmanians don't exist anymore, because they had the blessings from this royal family to wipe them out. They are gone. They don't exist on this planet anymore. A whole race of black people have disappeared because vermin have come from this country and wiped them out. This is the family. What, you're going to marry into it? Oh yeah, because it's a royal family. You're going to marry into it? Well, just know who they are. Meghan Markle is not a narcissist, doesn't even have those 7 traits. So we know she's not a narcissist. Just don't listen to this, especially the British media. I wouldn't wipe my arse with those newspapers. Come on. The Sun, the Mirror, do they even exist still? I mean, who reads these tabloid newspapers? These newspapers are read by a particular type of person in the UK. These are not the sharpest tools in the box. They didn't need much convincing, and they need bread and circus to keep them quiet. That's all they needed. And this is what these tabloid papers gave them, and they needed cannon fodder, and Meghan Markle fitted that profile perfectly. So there we have it. Just my 2 cents for what it's worth. What is your thoughts on this interview? Let me know in the comment section. It would be really good to hear your opinion. Would you ever get married into the British royal family? Do you blame Meghan Markle for the situation that she's in? Let me know in the comment section below. It'd be really good to hear your thoughts. Okay, so that's it from me for today. Thank you for watching. I'd like to give an extra special thank you to my Patreon subscribers, and I will see you in the next one. Until the next time, please think twice. Ta-ra a bit.